Get It Back in Blood or whatever.
Yeah, he was dissing all of their songs, so how you gonna say it ain't that? It was that. He was.
Ain't that the song my P.O. asked me how I get out, tell him how it's duck.
Yeah, that was disrespectful. I didn't like that.
The streets have been buzzing ever since footage surfaced showing GD's allegedly catching Pooh Shiesty off guard. And now, he's finally speaking out. What started as a shocking clip circulating online has quickly blown up into one of the most talked about moments in the rap world this week. Fans, critics, and fellow artists all have their opinions, but Pooh Shiesty's response proves that this isn't just another viral moment. It's personal, heated, and loaded with tension that could have long-term consequences. Sources say the incident happened unexpectedly, leaving the rapper in a vulnerable position that fans say caught him lacking. Social media immediately lit up with reactions, some mocking, some defending, and many dissecting every second of the clip. In the world of rap feuds, perception is everything, and being caught lacking is one of the harshest hits an artist can take. The pressure to respond, to maintain credibility, and to protect reputation is intense, and Pooh Shiesty clearly felt that weight. When he finally broke his silence, it wasn't quiet or subtle. According to insiders, his response was direct, emotional, and unfiltered. Fans describe it as him going off, addressing what happened, calling out accusations, and making it clear that he wouldn't allow this moment to define him. Sources say he hit back not just for his own image, but for his legacy, proving that he's aware of how quickly situations like this can spiral online and in the streets. The reaction online has been immediate. Clips of his response circulated almost instantly, sparking debates and speculation. Some fans celebrated the rapper for standing his ground, while others questioned whether his reaction escalated the situation further. The combination of social media, street credibility, and public perception has turned this incident into a storm, with no end in sight. Every word, post, and comment is now being analyzed for meaning, tone, and intent. What makes this moment even more intense is the backdrop of existing tension in the rap scene. Feuds, rivalries, and past conflicts all add layers to the story, making it more than just a single incident. Pooh Shiesty's response didn't just address one clip. It sent a message to everyone watching. Underestimate him at your own risk, because when he speaks, it gets real, it gets raw, and it gets ugly. This isn't just about being caught off guard. It's about respect, reputation, and the lengths one will go to protect both. The moment footage of Pooh Shiesty being caught off guard by GDs went viral, the world of hip-hop erupted. Social media timelines flooded with reactions, opinions, and endless breakdowns of every second of the clip. Fans debated, critics judged, and fellow artists weighed in, each adding their own spin to the situation. But for Pooh Shiesty, the incident wasn't just another viral moment. It was a blow to his reputation, his credibility, and his standing in a world where perception is everything. According to insiders, the clip caught him lacking, leaving him exposed in a way that few in the rap game ever want to experience. The streets, the fans, and even the music industry were watching closely, and the pressure to respond was immediate and intense. Sources close to Pooh Shiesty revealed that the rapper spent hours reviewing the footage, analyzing every angle, every reaction, and every detail. He understood that in moments like these, how he responded would either define him or let the moment define him. Being caught lacking isn't just a minor embarrassment in the rap world. It's a strike against one's reputation, a vulnerability that rivals can exploit, and an invitation for criticism from fans who expect their favorite artists to always remain untouchable. Every second of hesitation could be interpreted as weakness, and in the streets, perception can quickly translate into power or disadvantage. The response that came from Pooh Shiesty, according to insiders, was both immediate and unfiltered. He didn't issue a vague statement or allow silence to fill the gap. Instead, he spoke directly, addressing the incident head-on. Sources say his words were raw, emotional, and loaded with intensity, signaling that he was not willing to let this moment define him. "I don't get caught lacking," one insider reportedly quoted him saying during his response, emphasizing both his awareness of the stakes and his refusal to be undermined. The sentiment was clear: respect is earned, credibility is maintained, and reputation cannot be compromised. As his response hit social media, the reactions were instantaneous. Fans dissected every phrase, every tone, and every implied threat. Supporters praised him for standing his ground, interpreting the statement as a sign of strength and resilience. Critics, on the other hand, suggested that the response might escalate tensions further, potentially leading to more conflict or tension that could have been avoided. But in a world where online perception often mirrors street credibility, ignoring the incident wasn't an option. Every post, every clip, every comment was analyzed, magnifying the pressure and stakes. The backdrop of the incident added further weight. Pooh Shiesty has long navigated a world of rivalries, feuds, and past conflicts that intensify any public display of vulnerability. Being caught off guard, even for a moment, invites scrutiny not only from fans but from peers and potential adversaries. According to insiders, the rapper was acutely aware of this dynamic, which shaped the urgency and tone of his response. He knew that failure to address the incident decisively could embolden critics, fuel rivalries, and alter how he was perceived in the streets and in the music industry. Inside his circle, the mood was reportedly tense. Friends and collaborators advised him to stay calm, to avoid overreacting, and to control the narrative carefully. But sources say Pooh Shiesty's emotions were running high, fueled by the knowledge that the clip could be interpreted in multiple ways. Every word, every facial expression, every reaction in his response was calculated to communicate strength without surrendering composure. The intensity was not reckless. It was strategic, designed to assert authority, defend credibility, and reclaim control over a narrative that had momentarily slipped. The clip itself, small in length but massive in impact, had a ripple effect that extended beyond the immediate circles of fans and artists. Social media, street commentary, and music forums all became battlegrounds for interpretation. Some celebrated him for addressing the situation directly. Others questioned whether the response escalated matters, and still others speculated on possible retaliatory moves from rival camps. According to sources, Pooh Shiesty's team was monitoring these reactions closely, understanding that perception often drives action in the music industry and on the streets alike. By the end of the day, it became clear that this was more than a viral clip. The incident tested not only Pooh Shiesty's composure but also his ability to navigate a world where image, respect, and credibility are constantly in play. His response marked a turning point. No longer just reacting to the footage, he began controlling the narrative, sending a clear message to fans, critics, and rivals alike. The streets had seen a moment of vulnerability, but the response demonstrated that in the world of hip-hop, resilience, strategy, and intensity are just as important as raw talent. Pooh Shiesty made it clear, being caught off guard is temporary, but reputation, when defended fiercely, endures. By the next morning, the energy surrounding the incident had shifted from shock to full-blown scrutiny. Social media had not slowed down. In fact, the reactions intensified as fans dissected every moment of both the original clip and Pooh Shiesty's response. According to insiders close to the rapper, he spent hours reviewing online posts, screenshots, and fan reactions, fully aware that perception in the rap world can shift in an instant. One misstep, one misunderstood phrase, and the narrative could spiral out of control. The stakes weren't just about personal pride. They were about street credibility, fan loyalty, and professional respect. Pooh Shiesty reportedly understood this more than anyone, which fueled the urgency in how he handled the situation. Inside his circle, the atmosphere remained tense. Friends and collaborators debated the best approach, some cautioning him against overexposure, others urging him to maintain a visible presence to reclaim control. According to sources, Pooh Shiesty refused to back down or remain silent. The moment had already been shared with the world. Ignoring it would allow critics and rivals to define the story. Instead, he doubled down, communicating directly with those around him and making it clear that his reputation and credibility were non-negotiable. Every interaction became a calculated move in a larger strategy to maintain authority and control over his image. The confrontation between perception and reality was evident throughout the day. Fans online argued over whether the rapper had actually lacked in the viral clip or if the scene had been blown out of proportion. Critics claimed he had mishandled the situation, while supporters emphasized the strength and decisiveness of his response. Sources close to Pooh Shiesty indicate that he remained focused on the facts he could verify, intentionally separating rumor from reality. His goal was not to satisfy everyone on social media, but to reclaim his narrative in a way that reinforced his credibility, respect, and reputation. By mid-afternoon, the tension reportedly reached its peak. Conversations within his team were intense, focusing on how to manage both the fallout and the perception of strength. Insiders described the discussions as strategic, emphasizing that the rapper's public image in moments like this can have lasting consequences. Any miscommunication, overreaction, or perceived weakness could be exploited by rivals or critics. The level of awareness in his circle was high. Every word, every post, and every interaction mattered. Pooh Shiesty's response was not only defensive, it was proactive, establishing boundaries and signaling that he would not allow his credibility to be questioned or undermined. Meanwhile, the viral clip continued to circulate, now layered with commentary, memes, and analysis from fans and critics alike. The spread of the footage magnified the intensity, turning a single moment into a cultural talking point. Sources suggest that Pooh Shiesty's team monitored the situation closely, identifying trends in public perception and preparing strategic responses to maintain his reputation. This involved coordinating posts, clarifying statements, and making careful public appearances to show composure and control. The balance between reacting quickly and maintaining credibility required precision, and every decision was weighed carefully. At the same time, reports indicate that internal dynamics were shifting. Friends and collaborators who had previously tried to mediate or calm the situation began to recognize the importance of alignment. Everyone involved understood that the viral moment had put Pooh Shiesty in the spotlight in a way that demanded unity and coordination. Differences in opinion remained, but the focus shifted toward reinforcing a single message: strength, accountability, and resilience. The goal was to ensure that no further misinterpretation could damage credibility, and to demonstrate that he was fully aware of how quickly perception can influence reality in the music industry and on the streets. As evening approached, the rapper reportedly took steps to control the narrative beyond social media. Interviews, statements, and public appearances were carefully planned to reinforce the same message he had conveyed in his initial response. Being caught off guard does not define him, and respect must be maintained at all costs. Insiders indicate that every interaction was intentional, designed to signal composure, awareness, and accountability. The moment had become more than a clip. It was now a test of strategic communication and the ability to navigate high-stakes situations without compromising reputation. By the end of the day, one thing was clear. The incident had evolved from a single viral clip into a pivotal moment in Pooh Shiesty's career. The way he handled the situation, both publicly and privately, sent a strong message to fans, critics, and rivals alike. Sources say that his focus on control, composure, and proactive measures demonstrated an understanding that reputation in the rap world is fragile, and that moments of vulnerability, if handled correctly, can be transformed into demonstrations of strength. This was no longer just about being caught lacking. It was about reclaiming authority, defending credibility, and showing the world that in the face of scrutiny, he remains unshakable. By the following morning, the situation surrounding Pooh Shiesty had grown even more intense, with social media buzzing non-stop and fans dissecting every aspect of the incident. According to insiders close to the rapper, he woke up fully aware that perception could shift in an instant, and he wasn't willing to let a single clip define his reputation. The footage of him allegedly caught lacking had already spread like wildfire, with memes, reaction videos, and debates flooding platforms across the internet. In a world where credibility and street reputation are everything, one vulnerable moment can have consequences far beyond what casual observers might realize. Pooh Shiesty reportedly spent hours reviewing posts, screenshots, and messages, analyzing both the public response and the potential long-term implications for his image. Inside his inner circle, the atmosphere was tense but focused. Friends, collaborators, and advisors weighed in with strategies and opinions, some encouraging him to respond subtly, others urging a more forceful approach. Sources indicate that Pooh Shiesty ultimately decided that silence would be dangerous. Allowing the narrative to spiral without his input could lead to misconceptions and weaken his standing in the streets and among fans. He reportedly expressed that every interaction, public statement, and social media post needed to be precise and intentional. One misstep, he knew, could be seized upon by rivals or critics, potentially escalating tensions further. By midday, the rapper's response strategy reportedly began to take shape. Unlike the initial emotional reaction, this phase was methodical and calculated. Sources say he wanted to communicate that while the incident had occurred, it did not define him. His team reportedly advised him on phrasing, tone, and timing, emphasizing the importance of conveying authority and control. According to insiders, Pooh Shiesty's primary goal was to reclaim the narrative, demonstrating that he was fully aware of the stakes and that his credibility remained intact. Every word, every gesture, every public interaction was carefully considered to reinforce the image of someone who could navigate adversity without losing composure. Social media, as expected, continued to play a pivotal role. Fans broke down his statements, analyzing them for sincerity, strength, and any hint of weakness. Supporters praised his decisiveness and refusal to allow the clip to define him, viewing his response as a demonstration of resilience. Critics, on the other hand, questioned whether his reaction could potentially escalate the situation with rivals or amplify the incident further. Sources indicate that Pooh Shiesty and his team were acutely aware of these dynamics, monitoring engagement closely and adjusting their approach to ensure the message remained clear. His reputation was intact, and any perceived vulnerability would not be exploited. Meanwhile, the ripple effect of the incident was being felt across the music industry. Rivals, peers, and media outlets were watching closely, analyzing both the original clip and his response. Sources suggest that Pooh Shiesty recognized the broader implications. Moments like this can affect collaborations, bookings, and long-term street credibility. According to insiders, this awareness influenced the tone and timing of every action, ensuring that while he addressed the situation decisively, he also avoided unnecessary escalation. The objective was to turn a moment of vulnerability into a demonstration of strategic awareness and composure. Inside his personal circle, tension remained high. Close friends and collaborators reportedly worked tirelessly to ensure that internal communication was airtight, preventing leaks or misinterpretations that could further complicate matters. The rapper himself, according to sources, emphasized that trust and discretion were paramount, reinforcing the importance of accountability within his team. This phase of the situation, insiders say, was as much about controlling internal dynamics as it was about managing external perception. Every detail mattered, from who was informed to how responses were coordinated, reflecting a level of professionalism and focus that went beyond emotion. By late afternoon, Pooh Shiesty's presence on social media and public platforms had begun to stabilize the narrative. Sources indicate that coordinated posts, statements, and strategic appearances reinforced the message he wanted to send. Being caught off guard in one moment does not diminish talent, credibility, or resilience. Fans and observers alike began to recognize the careful balance between addressing the incident head-on and maintaining composure. This phase of response demonstrated that he could convert vulnerability into strength, signaling to both supporters and rivals that he remained fully in control. As evening fell, insiders report that the rapper reflected on the lessons from the incident. While the clip had initially exposed a moment of weakness, the aftermath had provided an opportunity to demonstrate strategic thinking, composure, and authority. Sources close to Pooh Shiesty emphasized that his actions during this phase were about more than defending his image. They were about setting a precedent for how he would handle scrutiny, conflict, and unexpected challenges moving forward. The message was clear. Moments of vulnerability are temporary, but reputation, credibility, and street respect are earned, defended, and maintained with deliberate care. By the end of the day, the situation had evolved into a turning point. The incident, which could have weakened his credibility, instead became a test of resilience and strategic thinking. Pooh Shiesty's methodical response, his calculated communications, and his unwavering focus on reputation sent a powerful message to fans, rivals, and the music industry alike. The viral clip may have caught him off guard, but his actions afterward demonstrated that in the high-stakes world of hip-hop, true strength is measured not by a single moment, but by how an artist responds, recovers, and reasserts control when the spotlight turns against them. By the next morning, the energy surrounding Pooh Shiesty had shifted yet again, moving from reactionary defense to proactive strategy. Insiders close to the rapper reported that he spent the early hours reviewing every detail from the previous day. The viral clip, his response, and the flood of online reactions. Every social media post, comment, and shared video was analyzed, not out of paranoia, but out of necessity. In the world he operates in, perception can make or break a career. One misstep, one poorly worded response, or one uncontrolled emotion could be amplified and used against him. Pooh Shiesty reportedly understood this more than anyone. He knew that to maintain credibility, he had to not only defend himself but also demonstrate composure under pressure. Inside his circle, tension remained high, but the approach had become more structured. Friends, collaborators, and advisors worked closely with him, mapping out a plan for addressing both the public and private aspects of the situation. Sources indicate that Pooh Shiesty refused to let the moment control him. Instead, he wanted to take charge of the narrative. His team reportedly emphasized the importance of clear, concise messaging that reaffirmed his reputation without unnecessarily escalating the conflict. Every action, whether a post, an interview, or statement, was calculated to reinforce authority and resilience. Throughout the day, social media continued to serve as both battleground and barometer. Fans debated whether the viral clip truly showed him lacking or if the moment had been exaggerated. Critics dissected his responses, questioning whether he had handled things appropriately or if emotions were clouding his judgment. Yet, according to sources, Pooh Shiesty remained focused on the facts he could control, deliberately separating rumor from reality. He reportedly expressed that it wasn't about pleasing everyone online. It was about reclaiming the narrative and reinforcing his credibility. For him, strength wasn't just about reacting aggressively. It was about demonstrating awareness, composure, and strategic thinking. By midday, his response strategy reportedly expanded to include long-term considerations. Sources say he and his team discussed how the incident could influence street credibility, music industry relationships, and public perception over time. Every interaction was evaluated for potential impact, from collaborations to social media appearances. According to insiders, Pooh Shiesty emphasized that credibility is earned and maintained through consistency and control, and that letting a single viral clip define him was not an option. This proactive approach aimed not only to mitigate immediate criticism, but also to establish a standard for handling similar situations in the future. Meanwhile, within his inner circle, the focus on internal alignment grew stronger. Friends and collaborators were briefed on messaging, boundaries, and communication protocols to prevent further misunderstandings or leaks. Sources indicate that Pooh Shiesty stressed accountability and trust, reinforcing the importance of loyalty and discretion. The viral incident had highlighted vulnerabilities not only externally but also within his team, and he reportedly wanted to ensure that everyone understood the stakes and their responsibilities moving forward. The combination of external strategy and internal discipline reflected a comprehensive approach to safeguarding his reputation. As afternoon turned to evening, the rapper reportedly took further steps to assert control over the narrative. Public appearances, interviews, and carefully timed social media posts were all part of a broader strategy designed to communicate strength and authority. According to insiders, Pooh Shiesty wanted to make it clear that moments of vulnerability are temporary, while reputation and credibility are long-term assets that must be actively defended. Every word and gesture was deliberate, reinforcing the message that while the clip had captured a fleeting moment, it did not define him. The ripple effect of the incident continued to be felt across the music industry. Rivals, peers, and fans watched closely, analyzing both the clip and his strategic response. Sources suggest that Pooh Shiesty recognized the broader implications of how a single viral moment can influence collaborations, bookings, and street credibility. By demonstrating composure, awareness, and control, he reportedly aimed to turn what could have been a negative defining moment into a demonstration of strength and professionalism. By nightfall, insiders say that Pooh Shiesty's approach had begun to stabilize the situation. While social media continued to debate and speculate, his calculated measures had created a framework for perception and control. Sources emphasize that this phase of the situation demonstrated a shift from reactive emotion to strategic execution. Every interaction, statement, and decision was carefully curated to reinforce authority, resilience, and credibility. By the end of the day, it was clear that the incident had become a defining moment, not because of the viral clip itself, but because of how Pooh Shiesty handled the aftermath. He turned a potentially damaging exposure into an opportunity to showcase strategic thinking, composure, and accountability. Sources close to the rapper highlight that this approach strengthened his credibility, not only with fans but within the streets and the industry. The message was unmistakable. While one can be caught off guard, true strength is measured by the ability to respond, reclaim control, and demonstrate that reputation and respect are non-negotiable. In this high-stakes world, Pooh Shiesty's response was a masterclass in turning vulnerability into power. By the next day, the situation surrounding Pooh Shiesty had reached a critical point. What began as a viral clip showing him allegedly caught lacking had now evolved into a defining test of both his street credibility and his ability to manage public perception. According to insiders close to the rapper, he spent the morning reviewing every detail once again. Social media reactions, commentary from fans, discussions among peers, and even rumors circulating in the industry. He understood that in the world of hip-hop, reputation is fragile, and a single moment, if not addressed properly, could have lasting effects. Pooh Shiesty reportedly approached the day with a focused determination, blending strategic thinking with his natural instincts for self-preservation and respect. Inside his inner circle, the tension remained palpable, but a sense of order was beginning to take hold. Collaborators, friends, and advisors worked closely to ensure that every message and public interaction reinforced the narrative Pooh Shiesty wanted to project: strength, awareness, and control. Sources indicate that the rapper emphasized the importance of being measured without showing weakness, making it clear that accountability, respect, and composure were non-negotiable. Every decision, from which post to make to how to respond to questions, was carefully weighed to maintain credibility while avoiding unnecessary escalation. By midday, the focus had shifted to long-term strategy. According to insiders, Pooh Shiesty and his team began mapping out potential outcomes, analyzing how the incident could affect his reputation in the streets, among peers, and in the music industry. The viral clip was no longer just a moment to defend against. It had become an opportunity to showcase resilience, strategy, and authority. Sources suggest that the rapper's goal was not only to reclaim the narrative but also to demonstrate that he could handle pressure, scrutiny, and conflict with both intelligence and composure. It was a lesson for fans, critics, and rivals alike. Vulnerability in one moment does not equate to weakness, and perception can be controlled with careful action. The social media storm continued to rage, but sources report that Pooh Shiesty remained largely unshaken. Fans dissected every post, clip, and comment, while critics attempted to question his credibility. Yet the rapper reportedly focused only on what he could verify, ignoring speculation and rumor. His strategy, according to insiders, was to assert authority without inflaming tension unnecessarily, balancing visibility with restraint. By doing so, he maintained a presence that projected confidence and control, showing that the viral clip would not dictate the story of his career. Inside the home and among his closest allies, the emphasis on internal discipline was equally strong. Sources indicate that Pooh Shiesty reinforced expectations around loyalty, trust, and discretion, reminding those around him that the smallest lapse could have significant consequences. The viral incident had exposed potential vulnerabilities, and the rapper wanted to ensure that his team's actions aligned with the same level of awareness and responsibility he demanded for himself. Every interaction was now viewed through a lens of accountability, creating a culture of careful decision-making that would prevent similar situations in the future. As afternoon turned into evening, Pooh Shiesty reportedly expanded his strategy to include public engagement. Carefully timed statements, posts, and appearances were designed to project composure and authority, ensuring that fans, critics, and peers understood that the incident had been addressed decisively. Sources close to him emphasized that this approach was intentional. He wasn't simply reacting to criticism, but actively shaping the narrative to reinforce his credibility. Every word, gesture, and interaction became a calculated reinforcement of the message. Reputation is earned, respected, and defended, and moments of vulnerability do not define true strength. Meanwhile, the wider hip-hop community watched closely. Rivals, peers, and media outlets dissected both the viral clip and Pooh Shiesty's response, trying to gauge the implications. According to insiders, the rapper's composure and strategic handling of the situation earned respect from many quarters, even those who were not necessarily his supporters. The incident, once potentially damaging, had now become a demonstration of his ability to navigate high-pressure situations with both awareness and authority. By nightfall, insiders report that Pooh Shiesty reflected on the lessons of the past few days. The viral clip had initially exposed a moment of vulnerability, but his response had turned it into a showcase of resilience, strategy, and credibility. Sources emphasized that he had succeeded in both reclaiming the narrative and setting a standard for how such incidents would be handled in the future. Fans, peers, and rivals alike could see clearly that while one can be caught off guard, true strength is measured by the ability to respond decisively, protect reputation, and assert control under pressure. By the end of this period, the incident had evolved into a defining moment in Pooh Shiesty's career. What could have been a damaging misstep became a lesson in composure, accountability, and strategic action. The viral clip, which initially sparked speculation and criticism, ultimately highlighted the rapper's ability to reclaim authority and protect his credibility. Sources close to him say that his actions demonstrated that reputation is not simply maintained by talent alone. It requires vigilance, discipline, and a calculated approach to every public and private interaction. In the high-stakes world of hip-hop, Pooh Shiesty had proven that moments of vulnerability could be transformed into displays of strength, leaving no doubt that he remains a figure who commands respect, both on the streets and in the industry. This moment with Pooh Shiesty is more than just viral drama. It's a lesson in reputation, resilience, and strategy. In the world of hip-hop, one clip or moment can change public perception instantly, but how an artist responds determines whether they rise or fall. Pooh Shiesty's handling of being caught lacking shows that strength isn't just about aggression or bravado. It's about awareness, calculated action, and the courage to reclaim control when the spotlight turns against you. For fans and followers, this is a reminder that perception shapes reality, and credibility is earned and defended through consistent composure and accountability. For those navigating high-stakes environments, whether in music, business, or life, it's proof that preparation, strategy, and measured responses are just as important as raw talent. Stay alert, stay strategic, and remember, how you respond under pressure defines your legacy far more than a single moment ever could.